Hello, and welcome back to the part 2 of What the Teacher Wants Wednesday, where we're going to be chatting all about classroom management. And today's focus is behavior management. So one of the questions I always get asked at the beginning of the year from either new kindergarten teachers or just teachers in general is, what do you do to manage behavior? I always try to be proactive and be consistent because kids thrive on consistency. And with that, at the beginning of the year, and I won't go too much into it, you can always check this out on my highlights as well about Kindergarten Bootcamp. The beginning, I always start with Kindergarten Bootcamp. And Kindergarten Bootcamp is usually the first or second week of school for me, typically the second week of school after I've gone through some clear, concise expectations on what I want the day to look like and our daily routines. And Bootcamp is all about setting clear expectations for different parts of our day. So we get crayon certified, scissor certified, and use our supplies. We take down caution tape in the room, and I'll go into more of this again on my story highlight. I won't go too much into it right now, but that is one of the big things, is setting clear expectations for kids. So modeling the behavior that you want, showing them the behavior that you don't want them to do, which is always really silly. And that's why, if you saw my stories when I was at the beach, that's why I bought my fancy little crazy monster puppet, because he's going to reenact all the crazy things, and then showing them exactly what you want them to do. So giving a student the opportunity to model for the rest of us what you expect. And when you're setting these expectations that I'm mentioning, you're also establishing class rules. And I'm going to let you in on a secret. I don't go over the rules on the first day of school. Like, no, not at all, because I'm trying to show them, I'm trying to get kids comfortable with kindergarten. It's their first time in the building. There's all kinds of emotions, like just all over the place. They're all over the place in kindergarten. So I do not go over the class rules on the first day. We develop them as a classroom family. So having kids feel included in developing the rules will also have them remember what the expectations are because you set them together. And there's all kinds of versions of this on Pinterest, on Teachergram. You can just do a quick search and you can find all kinds of things on a class contract or class rules. They're everywhere. So the other thing is, I like to make sure that I'm repeating these rules. So when you're repeating the rules and you're saying them, kids will start to then recite them. And if they see someone, let's say they're, in the reading corner and they notice that they're supposed to be buddy reading and someone's just like looking around and not paying attention, they'll say, listen when someone is speaking. And they'll start to remember and say the same phrases, not in a rude way, but just as a gentle reminder to their peers, hey, this is what we're supposed to do. This is the expectation for our classroom family. And I should be listening. You're right. So when you recite the rules and you say them, they start to learn them. And then by the time it's, January, February, March, you're not going over the rules every day because they're already up here. They know them. They've got them down. And with that, it also goes to show that when they know the rules and they've come up with them as a classroom family, they are less likely to break them. But when inevitably someone breaks a rule, we do have a timeout spot. Now, the timeout spot is a place for kids to be able to think, oh, this is what I did, reflect, right? This is what I did. This is what I was supposed to be doing. This is what I need to do. So I have fidgets in my timeout spot. Sometimes they're there if they need to take a timeout on their own. They become pretty independent with it. Some kids know, like, oh, I need to take a break, and we'll have like a special way of communication. Sometimes we do this, like a T for timeout. Just depends on the kiddos and their needs, but having the option, I think, for kids to be able to put themselves in timeout and teaching them how to use it appropriately has been a huge game changer for me, because I'll have kids that are like, oh no, they realize that they're getting worked up about something, and they'll go, and then they'll walk over and they'll take their time out. They'll kind of cool down or kind of work through some things. It's a time I can talk with them. And then we revisit what happened and then restart. That might sound kind of strange, but through my learning of Responsive Classroom, and if you haven't heard of that yet, make sure to check it out. They have some great tips. You can go on their website and just see, what that is all about. But basically when kids are able to independently use the timeout spot, they're then not thinking that it is a place where they're in trouble necessarily, because you don't see those big explosive behaviors when they're proactive about it. When you teach kids the strategies to sense when, oh geez, I'm getting worked up, or oh no, I'm not going to be making a good decision, or I'm upset, like they then flip on, oh, I need to walk away. Teaching them to walk away and be independent thinkers and problem solvers is huge, because it's not just a skill that is good for the kindergarten classroom, but it is a life skill, right? How many times as adults are we like, I need to take a breath, I need to walk away. Now, of course, this sounds amazing, right? At the beginning of the year, it doesn't always go so smoothly, because I still have, some kiddos with big emotions, or they're working through sharing for the first time, or, they're missing their parents, things like that. And helping them understand if there is a negative behavior or something that does not meet our expectations or breaks a rule, to stop the behavior, make sure the kiddo is safe, of course, and then help them understand their actions. Why did you do that? Start thinking about where that behavior came from. And again, when you're proactive with it and you're being consistent with logical consequences and how you handle things, it will make that go a lot smoother so kids can be independent. And with that, my last but not least tidbit is brag tags or class dojo. Something to highlight the positive is huge for kids. I use Class Dojo and I use brag tags, and if you haven't heard of either, I would definitely recommend to check them out. Class Dojo is great, not just for behavior management, but for parent communication, and there's just a myriad of uses for it. It is our school-wide positive behavior support program, so I do utilize Class Dojo. The kids love it. If you use Class Dojo, let me know. And I also do brag tags. Huge fan of brag tags. And I think one of the benefits to brag tags over Class Dojo, they both highlight positive behavior, but brag tags, I can just kind of slide one in. Like if I see someone working really hard, I'll go like this. I'll take a brag tag, which is just a little piece of paper they put on their necklaces from Bootcamp, and I'll just say, wow, Sharon, look at you. You are so focused. Way to go. And I'll just put it on their name tag or on their desk, and other kids around them are like, five, Shannon, way to go. Good job. So they're celebrating each other, they're celebrating themselves, and they make themselves proud. Now I'm going into my 8th year of teaching. So if you're watching this and you're a new teacher and you're like, are you serious? Really? You don't have any explosive behaviors? Oh, I do. But it takes a lot of work and practice to be able to successfully implement kids being able to use, the timeout spot independently, learning how to set clear, concise expectations, learning how to model things. It takes time. So if this is your first year teaching, or you're, new to kindergarten, don't worry. You're going to be fine. You'll learn with the kids. And if you are in kindergarten and you use a timeout spot, or you like to utilize responsive classroom strategies, I would love to hear from you. Feel free to send me a DM and we can chat.